I'd like to take you back to a simpler time. A time when Brittany was accidentally doing things a second time. Ugly coyotes were actually beautiful flair bartenders who would ruin your clothes.
Coyote Ugly. Why would you name your bar that?
Because Cheers was taken.
Certain Conan bits had just lost their relevance. That's right, I'm talking about the year 2000, and it's the year that SiSSYFiGHT 2000 made its debut. SiSSYFiGHT is a turn-based fighting game in which you play as a little girl on the playground fighting against other little girls on the playground. You fight by clicking them and then choosing what you want to do to them. If you scratch your opponent, they lose 1 health. Grabbing them stops them from performing certain actions. Teasing only works when multiple people tease a person. So if one person teases, nothing happens, but if multiple people tease one person, they'll lose 2 health per teaser. Cowering is kind of like blocking, and licking your lolly gets you 2 health back. The final thing you can do is tattle on everyone, which does 3 damage to anyone teasing or having physical contact with another girl, so grabbing, scratching, whatever. Downside to tattling, if multiple people tattle, they get in trouble and lose 3 points each instead. Now I recognize I probably haven't sold you on SiSSYFiGHT 2000 quite yet, but you have to at least admit now that that's a pretty unique concept for a video game. One I haven't seen since, and don't think I ever will. First of all, rather than the typical I go, you go turn-based fighting style of like a Pokemon or a Final Fantasy, everything in SiSSYFiGHT 2000 happens simultaneously, making the game more of a programming game than a turn-based fighting game. See, you might spend a turn licking your lolly, but then it turns out someone else has decided to scratch you, causing you to choke on your lolly, making you lose 2 health instead of the normal 2 health you would gain from licking your lolly. Does this all just sound like crazy nonsense? Second, the game has a built-in chat. Most games that come out today that have a chat interface built into them allow you to whisper to other players, talking one-on-one, planning and strategizing. But the beauty of SiSSYFiGHT is that all chatting is completely public and out in the open. Say you want to rally a bunch of people to team up against this one person and knock them out of the game. Everyone, including that person, is going to know your plan. So, you might be bluffing, and you're going to get everyone else to fight this person. Well, you're going to go tattle and get all those people in trouble. Or, alternatively, maybe you're just going to cower because you think some other opportunistic person is going to tattle, getting everyone in trouble. And if you cower, you look innocent. The potential for mind games and head games is just like through the roof when everyone gets to freely communicate between rounds. Okay. Third, we have to talk about the theme. Now, I don't think SiSSYFiGHT was ever intended to be sexist. But if someone approached me and said, hey, you want to play this game called SiSSYFiGHT 2000 in which you play as a little girl who defeats other little girls through catfighting and bullying, I would be a bit skeptical. On the other side of the coin, I'm sad to say that I've encountered several men who were completely unwilling to play a game as a female character. Like, you know, it's pretend. Like, you're willing to play Mario even if you're not a plumber, Zelda, even if you're not an elf. Yeah. So anyway, magically, this game has found a way to immediately scare off people on both ends of the spectrum, both sexists and feminists probably aren't gonna be super interested in playing this game, which makes life hard. So here's some exciting news. You can still play SiSSYFiGHT today. I think it's SiSSYFiGHT.com. It's either SiSSYFiGHT.com or SiSSYFiGHT2000.com. I'll make it clear in editing. But some bad news. SiSSYFiGHT.com is a ghost town. I belong to a small Facebook group with a surprising ratio of attractive women who occasionally organize a game, but as far as I can tell, that's it. And more bad news, this game is not at all optimized for your cell phone. You could maybe get away with a tablet, but this game is really meant to be played on a computer, which people are using less and less and less all the time. And that is why I designed SiSSYFiGHT, the card game. And I realized this would be a lot cooler if I made a cool box, but I didn't. So for the record, I'm not selling anything or trying to pass the idea of SiSSYFiGHT off as my own at all. I just made this thing that I think is super cool, and I wanted to show it off and maybe possibly get a couple folks interested in SiSSYFiGHT, you know, SiSSYFiGHT Renaissance. I'm here for it. Let's go. So functionally, SiSSYFiGHT, the card game, is pretty much exactly the same as SiSSYFiGHT, the video game. There's a few exceptions, just because there's like one or two things where timing played a small part. But honestly, those situations were pretty few and far between. So I just figured it's fine to just take it out. So every person playing will get a double-sided character card and a standee, which will get flipped around as a reminder if they cower for no reason. Each girl starts out with 10 HP, which is represented by a 5-point unicorn eraser and 5 1-point rainbow erasers. I originally was looking into ordering wooden heart tokens, but then I thought erasers actually would be way cheaper and more thematic. And finally, you will get a set of 6 target cards representing yourself and your opponents, and 9 attack cards. So you've got the grab, tease, scratch, and cower cards, which have the infinity symbol in the top right corner to represent that you can play those cards as often as you want. But then lacking the infinity symbol, you've only got 2 tattle cards and 3 lick lolly cards. These actions are limited, so after you play one, you will discard it from your hand. So here's how a round works. First, everybody can freely talk, threaten, lie, or just sit there quietly while they decide what they want to do. If you were trying to get into the spirit of the game, you might say, "I saw Liz picking her nose last week on the playground. We should all tease her." Once you've decided what you're going to do, you choose your opponent and what you want to do to them, and play the 2 cards face down in front of you. And once everyone has done this, someone starts the round by revealing what they've done. I'll start. I have decided to tease Liz. Has anyone else joined me? Maria and Erna now volunteer that they have teased Liz as well. Next, Rachel says that she cowered because she had a feeling someone might tattle. And she was right to be concerned, because next, Liz reveals that because everyone was going to tease her, she decided she would play her tattle card. But so did Samantha. Instead of getting everyone else in trouble, Liz and Samantha got themselves in trouble. Ultimately, Rachel cowered for no reason at all, so she turns her card around to remind herself that if that happens on her next turn, she'll lose 1 HP. At the end of the round, everyone is at full health except for Samantha, who took 3 damage, and Liz, who has taken a massive 9 points of damage. It's a good thing rounds are short. SiSSYFiGHT 2000 holds a really special place in my heart. I would play all the time against random strangers online. I'd play with friends over AIM. But what I really liked, my favorite memories of playing SiSSYFiGHT, was when my friends and I would all stay after school and take over a cluster of computers in the computer lab. and play against each other in person. And honestly, you know, we might have done that 5 times, or we might have done that every day for an entire school year. I don't remember anymore. But what I do know, what I do remember, is that playing Sissy Fight just reminds me of simpler times with old friends. And I miss it dearly. And I hope maybe you'll give it a shot and check it out too.